Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tiffin Podcast, Episode 1. This podcast has been designed to provide information, news, and positive influence around the city of Tiffin, which is located in Ohio in the United States of America. Each podcast, I'd like to go over a few main discussion topics. Some local events that are happening within the city of Tiffin, some new developments, political stuff, jobs, and athletics. I'd also like to have general life discussions, and eventually I would like to have guests around Tiffin that live in Tiffin, are politicians, business owners, and hope to have them on this podcast, which I'm hoping to get some type of room or more microphones and better video equipment. So we'll see how this podcast develops from here. First on the agenda today, I'd like to go over wind energy. There has been some discussion within the city of Tiffin and all around Ohio about wind energy. And there is some anti-wind energy unions and some pro-wind energy unions. And if you don't know what wind energy is, it refers to the process of creating electricity using the wind or the air that flows naturally in the Earth's atmosphere. So what the wind does, the wind blows by and catches these wings on the wind turbines and spins them in each rotation around, or however the wind turbine is set up, of half rotation, third rotation, quarter rotation. It generates electricity, and then that can be used to power whatever, and it can be used to power whatever schools, houses, businesses, whatever you want. It's almost like a solar panel. As you can see, there's solar panels on certain businesses and on top the roofs of some people's houses. That's one step towards this green energy movement, and I think wind energy is going to come after the solar panel movement has died. So before Seneca County adapts to wind energy, I would think we would consider solar energy first, as there's products readily available and installation prices for these solar panels have become a lot cheaper. I've seen some advantages and disadvantages of wind energy, and today I'd like to discuss those. I'm going to pull up some advantages right now. So here we are, just a general Google search here. We can see one of the main advantages of wind energy is to include an unlimited, free, and renewable resource, which is the wind itself. This can help in economic value, maintenance cost, and placement of wind harvesting facilities, which is basically a field or area that has been lined out to install these wind turbines. I'm going to look at a study done by Stanford University on the benefits and cons of wind energy. Wind energy, if you didn't know, is based on kinetic energy, which creates mechanical power. It's not stored energy. So the wind actually has to hit the propeller before anything can be generated. It doesn't move on its own or have internal bearing weights that keep it spinning nonstop, even if there isn't any wind. And so I threw at you some general advantages of wind energy. I'm on Stanford University, a website, and there's an article called Wind Energy Advantages and Disadvantages. And I'd like to add to the advantages section right now. So unlike other types of power plants, it emits no air pollutants or greenhouse gases. So that is a huge, huge benefit, in my opinion, especially with global warming and climate change, which the world is very concerned about. I know I have a few kids, and I don't want them growing up in a polluted world. I've heard rumor that some of the oxygen content has decreased since like 50 years ago, significantly, like whole percentage points. So that's something that we need to be concerned about. In the United States, along with other countries, it remains dependent on fossil fuels imported from unstable and unreliable nations. This is true with, everybody knows that we're fighting across the country here in international nations for fuel. So wind energy can help us save on that demand for fuel from international countries. And I think that can make us more self-reliant. We don't have to go to other countries and invade them for oil, gas, coal, whatever it may be. And so that's a huge, huge advantage to have that wind power. See another advantage here. We're making, just like solar energy, you're making energy, reducing cost for these power plants. You're making it off the natural occurrence of the earth. So it doesn't cost anything to create this kinetic energy like a power plant does to give us electricity around for the city of Tiffin, perhaps. And so that's awesome. You're not creating anything. You're not destroying anything naturally. All you need is some ground space. And that's basically it. Just some ground space and having it high enough where the winds are powerful enough to blow these wind turbines. Because if they're too low, then houses and trees and natural wind blocks may make it hard for the wind to hit these wind turbines. So let's look at one more advantage here, and we'll move to disadvantages. Bondage of fossil fuels, where wind turbines free us from that. The cost of maintaining wind turbines and generating wind power is next to nothing. Almost zero maintenance. The only thing that I could see damaging that is natural disaster, storm, tornado, hurricane, what have you. And I think you could just if you had one on your property, you could just have someone come out and repair it within a couple days, and then you're back up and running. I know the parts might be expensive to have them shipped in. I'm sure that would require a lot of money. But I'm not sure on how much each wind turbine costs, or the blades, how much each blade costs to run it. So, but moving on to the disadvantages, there's a picture here in the Stanford University article that shows these wind turbine blades being shipped on semi trucks. And I thought they had to fly them in via helicopter, or because how would you raise them up? But yeah, you can use a crane, but I thought maybe like a helicopter would set them in place, and someone would crank on it with a wrench and weld the bolts tight so they didn't come loose. But, all right, so moving on to disadvantages. Aesthetic impact. Many people are concerned with the visual effects that wind turbines have on the beautiful scenery of nature. And I've seen this on Facebook. The Anti-Wind Union has reportedly had pictures, and a lot of people complaining about the how it impacts the view of the sky, just the natural habitat. Some people like looking up at the clouds, and that relaxes them. Some people enjoy sitting on their porch, rocking, just enjoying nature. And I could see that it would ruin it if there's a big windmill blocking your view from if you own a woods, or just, I think it would just upset the natural way of the earth. I mean, and moving on to that includes the wildlife. So wind turbines may be dangerous to flying animals, and I'm sure you're not going to have deer and ground animals coming around that often with a big windmill in their natural path. So I can see that being a problem here. Remoteness of location. So a lot of people have to have it far back off the road in case, I think for insurance reasons, maybe in case it falls downward, because they're very tall. So I'm sure they would have to be as tall as they are. I'm sure they would have to be back just that much or more in case it would fall. It wouldn't affect any houses or traffic. So that would be a disadvantage. Some wind turbines tend to generate a lot of noise, which can be unpleasant. So I've went to Ohio Northern University, and they have a wind turbine field behind campus. And I've jogged around there a couple of times, and I've never really heard them turning. I do remember, though, there was a squeaking on one of them, but within a couple of days there was someone up there fixing it, because I used to jog daily up there when I went to school. So I'm not sure about the noise, but I could see that being a huge factor, because you're trying to sleep and you hear the squeaking windmill. I mean, you can't climb up and fix it. You're gonna have to call somebody to repair it, and who knows how long that could take. It could take days, weeks, depends if you have a company contracted with this wind turbine, or, I mean, the list continues. Safety at sea. In the darkness and at night, it may be difficult for incoming boats to see wind turbines, thus leading to collisions. And I never thought about a boat hitting a wind turbine, but if you had one in the ocean, I don't see that happening. I don't know why anyone would install a wind turbine in water. It's interesting. Just use the land that we have, buy some land, install it there. But I do. So I did search a little bit, and just found some wind turbines that are in the Irish Sea. I haven't seen any around the United States, but these things look, there's like a gigantic concrete pillar sticking up out of the ocean about 5-6 feet, and there's this stupid white PVC color post sticking up about 20 feet, and there's this little 3-bladed windmill, and there's not just one of them, there's like 30. I mean, they look nice because they're in rows, but how would you be able to take a boat around that area? And oh my gosh, you're wasting all that sea space and all the sea life below it, putting unnatural substances and chemicals in there, especially the concrete. And if you want to see this article, it was written by Dallas Lloyd on December 11th, 2014, and it was submitted as coursework for PH 240 class. So, I mean, that article, there's a lot more information on this article if you want to see it. It's simply online. I know Seneca's debating right now very hardly on this wind energy debate on whether it's a good decision or not for Seneca County. So let's move on from there, and maybe we can revisit this in a future podcast. But for now, I want to move on to the D.O.R.A debate, which is the downtown drinking. This issue has been up for debate and a vote by Tiffin City Council, and recently just got voted down. And there's been some advantages and disadvantages of this too. And another reason I want to do this podcast quick, sorry to break up with a news feed, but it's hard to hear of all these news things by reading. I mean, a lot of us don't have time to read. We have families, we have jobs, we're always driving, working out, going from here to there, trying to get through the store quick as possible, going out to eat. I mean, we don't have time to sit and read. We're always interacting with others. So this podcast is a way to get your news and general information, update on what's going on around you, new issues that may arrive through a video medium and audio medium. So I hope this is beneficial to a lot of people. All right, so back to the D.O.R.A. There's some pros and cons with the D.O.R.A, which is the D.O.R.A regulation allows alcohol to be consumed on sidewalks within the designated zone. And this was between Washington Street from the river to St. Joseph Church and east on Madison Street. So the river, man, that cuts out a lot of bars. North of the river there on Washington Street, we have the viaduct, and is it McGowan's down there on Six's Corners. So that would instantly knock out those two businesses. So that's not fair for those bars. Right away, I can tell reading this article from the Advertiser-Tribune on October 30th, 2018. The church and east, St. Joseph Church, and east on Madison Street. So Madison Street, man, what the heck? That would cut off Clover Club and GW's. So basically, just that central area, all the businesses would prosper. That seems really unfair. But anyways, the D.O.R.A allows people to drink between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. on the sidewalks Monday through Saturday in 16-ounce plastic cups, which would be clearly marked D.O.R.A and with the rules. So would this be a cup with D.O.R.A the Explorer on it? Or how would you write D.O.R.A on it so an officer driving by could see D.O.R.A? I don't understand this. The D.O.R.A cup. You think you'd have like a color? Well, I guess you can get any color cup and fill it with anything. It seems complicated within itself. Jeez Pete's, we're not even halfway through the article. You wouldn't be allowed to move from one establishment into another with the beverage. So you would be able to come outside the bar with the beverage, drink, but before you go to the next bar, you have to discard the D.O.R.A cup. So you would throw the D.O.R.A cup away. Who's going to be providing these D.O.R.A cups? Al fresco dining. Man, this seems really crazy. So that's going to increase littering because you're not near a trash can and you can't go in the restaurant unless you throw it away. No trash can nearby. Well, can't get in. We're sorry, we can't let you come in and eat because you still have your D.O.R.A cup. still have a drink. So just dump it right here next to the door and just walk in quick. Oh my gosh. I can see why this got voted down. Oh man, it works in some cities, but some cities have already experienced problems and successfully made changes to adapt. And I think if we did go through with the D.O.R.A regulations, we'd definitely have to troubleshoot, and that would take a long time. So 13 out of 14 businesses in that area have shown interest, especially the Ritz Theater. Now, the Ritz Theater, I could see that as a good thing for D.O.R.A, because a lot of people like to go out to eat or go out and drink, have a few drinks before they go to the Ritz, because they can't carry a drink to the Ritz. So, I could see that helping. A lot of people like to have a drink in a show. This is what the world has come to. People like to relax, drink, show, dinner, do the whole thing. People enjoy doing that, especially here in Tiffin. We really thrive on that with the amount of bars and performances, acts. We have that new downtown concert green that people seem to really enjoy. But, going to a concert, I know I enjoy, just like many other people, having a drink to enjoy the music, to lower that inhibition, to just relax and enjoy the music before us. So that's I can see many people going for this, and there's a lot of religious people who hate drinking and this to drinking. Drinking's the devil, and those people, or maybe people have lost loved ones to drinking, alcoholics crashing, running into them, DUI, people not caring about anybody else around them on the road and killing one of their loved ones. I could see that being a reason to hate the D.O.R.A. I know I would be scared to have someone in the D.O.R.A area intoxicated because they had a few drinks at a bar and they're walking across the crosswalk, ignoring the walk signals and hitting them. And that would be tragic. I could see that happening so frequently. Man, it's already hard enough with sober people walking across Tiffin crosswalks without getting sideswiped by a car. And a lot of people do not obey the speed limit in this town. And that's my opinion, but I'm sure many will agree. All right, Police Chief Fred Stevens expressed his willingness to try the program. So the Tiffin Police is on board with this, which is, I thought they would be against it because there would be way too many problems with alcohol, public intoxication, vandalism, all the things that come with severely intoxicated. Spray painting. There's been spray painting all around Tiffin. That's really cleaned up, though. I haven't seen as much lately. So, maybe we could charge to have a business in the D.O.R.A or for the cups. Maybe the government could issue the D.O.R.A cups, which I still think is ridiculous. The D.O.R.A cup idea, people can bring any cup and write D.O.R.A on it with a permanent marker. I don't know. I don't know how you would get that down to be regulated very carefully and correctly. But maybe we could get some tax money from that somehow to employ some more officers to strictly patrol that area if it did pass. These are all things that could be great discussions for council if they wanted to retry this D.O.R.A initiative. So, and it is saying the beverages in the D.O.R.A cups could be carried to the East Green Amphitheater, which is suspected to have a lot of great concerts this year. And that would be great if drinks would be permitted there, even a temporary permit. Maybe that would be a good experiment for the summer of 2019 to have D.O.R.A cups allowed at this amphitheater. Maybe one or two cops on patrol there to make sure, just to see how Tiffin society behaves with an open drinking opportunity. There's a lot of people who some people that lived around here, I mean, we've had tons of bars for years. Since I've been a little kid, I've always remembered passing a bar, or just remember seeing them all the time. And a lot of people think this is a bad thing for Tiffin, as it can lead to verbal abuse, rowdiness, vandalism, fighting. I mean, we do have 2 colleges in this town, and a lot of people think that they're rivals, and students themselves think that Heidelberg is a rival to Tiffin University and vice versa. I don't understand that, but some colleges may understand, or students from that college may understand better than I do. But my opinion on the D.O.R.A overall is not a good idea. Not a good idea for just adding more problems, more arrests, more charges on people's record that they don't need. I mean, it's already hard enough to get a job around here in Tiffin. I know there's a lot of new businesses coming, but it doesn't matter how many businesses are here if all the people in Tiffin have charges of public intoxication and or a DUI, etc. The list goes on. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's any more news that would be great for open discussion. Oh yeah, I was walking around Tiffin not too long ago, and I seen this Tiffin pedal company. Man, it looks so cool. It's like a bar on, like a little, yeah, it's like a bar on 4 wheels, and there's like 10 seats around this bar with the bar in the middle, and each seat has a pedal, which is absolutely crazy. It looks so cool. I could see myself going on this after dinner, having a few drinks, just going for a ride on the bike and getting to see the great sights of Tiffin, which there are many, if I may add. So let's see. Dan Perry is the owner of this Tiffin pedal company, and which is located on Madison Street, in case anybody wanted to know. And I guess the owner of this started this company because he's seen a similar bike during a visit in Sandusky when he returned. And so in Tiffin, he decided to bring this bike idea. Dan Perry messaged the mayor to get this bike idea here in Tiffin, and the mayor obviously has went through with that. And you can get their business at or rent their bike, rent it, buy it, however they do it. I'm not sure. At tiffinpedalcompany.com. They have their times located. They don't run too late, which I think that's a good idea. I mean, you don't want drunk drivers out late at night with a huge bike thing that looks like a bus with 14 people. That would be a disaster. I didn't see if there was any seatbelts on there. Yeah, it does look like. I'm zooming in on the picture here, taken by Vicky Johnson. Oh, and the seats are adjustable too. So on this Tiffin Pedal Company bike, a car, if you will, a car with 8 seats. I'm going to say 8 or 7 seats each side, and there's one in the middle, like the head of the table, it looks like. And there's a little area in the middle that looks like you could stand if you wanted to. And it has a roof over top. That's good if it's raining. You don't want to ride your bike in the rain. It's pretty neat. Yeah, it looks like they have seat belts on each and every one, and each seat is adjustable, so you have the right height to pedal. And evidently, to move this thing, everybody has to pedal in sync to generate energy to propel the bike forward. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a new business, and we'll see how it works. I didn't see if it had any turn signals on it, or brakes, or horns, or whatever. But the time I did see them, they did have music playing, so that's cool. Sweet. Wonder if they do like 4 people bikes, or even have like a bike cab. Now that would be awesome. Like you could get done at drinking at the bar or at the Ritz Theater, going out to dinner, and just call up a bike cab. Someone pulls up in a bike. I seen this, I think in India they have it. It's like a bike cab, and they come and pick you up. It's like a tricycle, and the 2 wheels in the back, there's a little cab seat, and there's a guy in front pedaling, and you give him a tip or pay the base fare, and he starts taking off. Tell him where you want to go. He pedals you to where you want to go, and tip him as you wish. So that's pretty neat. Let's see what else I wanted to get to. Oh, the flea market started. Tiffin Flea Market has been really cool. There has been so many booths there. Even if it's raining, there's inside booths. There's tons of food there. There's homemade ice cream, funnel cake, homemade what's that popcorn? Kettle corn. Every time I've went there, I've had a great experience. I found something that I could take home and use, even if it was like a broken up pallet or whatever. You can always use that to make something crazy. So I'm looking up now, because I am fascinated with flea markets, because you can find some cool stuff, some secret finds that the owner of that item who's selling it to you does not necessarily know the present price. Let's see here. I landed on this one site, but I mean, I don't. It's the most craziest flea market finds, but there wasn't really any that I can relate with. I know there's that. There's always that purse lady that sells. So she says Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all those brands, Coach, Chanel purses. And if you think they are real, I'm sorry to break it to you, they're not. They are not. Call their owner, call the brand, say, hey guys, have you this, I'm not going to be racist, but it's usually a lady that sells purses there. Every time I've went, it's been a woman. This woman here that sells purses, did you give her permission to sell Gucci purses? and collect profit from those at this Tiffin Flea Market, they would have no idea what you're talking about. So instead of looking up great finds at flea markets, record finds, I'm going to look up some do's and don'ts of what to do and obviously what not to do at a flea market. So what you want to do, since flea market season has started, is go right now. Like right now, start of the season, people have been hoarding up stuff from winter, gathering stuff, new stuff. Because usually during the flea market season, people take stuff there as they find it throughout their summer, and it's usually gone very quickly. So they've been collecting, the flea market sellers have been collecting stuff all this winter. So your best opportunity to find something really unique is to go right now. So, all right, do go early and get a map of the flea market. I think you can get one online. They also have them there at the flea market, and you can kind of map out. What I like to do is get a map and write down generalizations of what that area has the most of. So if I am in search of something later on in the year, I can look at that map and go right there without having to look around again and trying to remember who had what and etc. So that's a great tip that I'd like to offer from my experience. Do take cash. Many sellers don't take credit and debit cards. Yeah, I've never ran into anybody at the Tiffin Flea Market who accepted a debit card, and I would not trust writing it down for someone to cash in later, cash out later, whatever you call it. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. I haven't experienced this and there's always a sheriff there or Tiffin cop there. Do keep cash in your front pocket or in a cross-body bag positioned in front. Yeah, never keep your purse behind you. And if you try that in New York, I know that would not work within a couple minutes. Let's see. Coffee or water. Yeah, you can take in drinks in your own food. I've never had anybody stop and check and say, hey, you're not allowed to take that drink in. No food. No outside food. It's not like the Tiffin movie theater where you cannot take in anything there. They do not like that. Let's see here. Bring a stroller. Even if you don't have a baby or a child, bring a wagon or a stroller, because, I mean, you may find a lot of good finds and you have nothing to put it in. You're going to be carrying that stuff around all day, or you're going to have to walk back to your car every time you buy something. And that, a lot of people would not prefer that, in my opinion. Let's see. Flea market toolkit. Do take a flea market toolkit. Oh, so you can measure things that would fit. So if you have a space or area that you're looking for something, you can whip out your tape measure and measure it right then and there. That's interesting. Maybe like some twisty ties or rubber bands in case you got cords or something. Maybe a box in case you got a bunch of little gadgets. I would advise taking like a tote or a box. That's a good idea. Haggling. Or bartering, as some people call it. That's the best part of the Tiffin Flea Market. You can talk to people and try to get the price down, and sometimes they do not budge. Even if you go like 5 years from now and say, hey, man, this has been the 5th year I've tried to haggle you on this, and they still don't budge sometimes. It's crazy. But maybe they have some emotional attachment to it or what have you. I have no idea. Let's see. Check the condition of electronics, machines. Yeah, because there is no return policy. If They say it works. You take it. You think it works. You go home, plug it in. Where's the receipt? You don't have a receipt. Too bad. You got tricked. Don't take your dog. I don't remember seeing any dogs there. But they can poop. You have to pick it up. I don't think that's really a problem. Many people can handle that. Don't try to repurpose flea market finds. A lot of people repurpose that. That's a stupid tip. I know one more tip here, and then we'll attempt to close this up here. I know a lot of times when I'm in any flea market, I go up to something or even I see somebody go up to something and that their emotions, they react like saying, "Oh my God," or like, "Wow," or like, "Honey, come look at this." It draws attention like crazy. Everybody wants to know what that item is because everybody's looking for that unique item, that one item that the owner may have missed the price on. They may be uneducated about that item, so they draw attention by reacting in a certain way, and then everyone else, it's like flocks to that person who, "Oh my God, honey, come over here." Or there's a woman that says, "Honey, you won't believe this. I finally found my 1960s cookbook." There's, it depends. But yeah, you don't want to do that because you might find that item's too expensive, or you left your purse in your car, your wallet. Then you have to leave that item, and you already let everyone know that this great, amazing item is right where you were standing. So you're risking it being taken by another customer who could maybe even make a better offer. So be careful of that. What else do we have on the list here? The 587 and 224 intersection. That has been a topic of discussion that I would want to have with a lot of county reps because, man, I remember there used to be a stoplight there. I've never heard of any wrecks from there when that stoplight was up. But now it's just two stop signs on 224 go straight, and then on each side of 224 there's two stop signs, and 587 runs through it. And I've never drove on 587, but I guess those stop signs may be hard to see if you're from out of town and people just run right through them, or they're looking down, people are texting. Can be that too. But man, county needs to do something about that. They need to put the solar panels on top of the stop signs to make them flash at night, because it usually happens in the afternoon. I think that's when traffic is heaviest, the early evening, afternoon. But man, it's wrecks every day, it seems like. And I know the distracted driving from texting doesn't help. I don't know how many people I drove past on 224 where you don't know where they're looking, taking selfie, video, picture. Look, Mom, there's a hawk. I don't know. It's just people don't really care about anybody else on the road, it seems like. I always do defensive driving. I always brake at 587 when I'm going on 224. I always slow down like 50, 45 even, and just keep my eye on both stop signs there, because usually every time I pass there's a car on each side. So man, it's important that you pay attention there. Moving on to another new business, Panda Express. I know there's been some issues with the car wash there, but evidently everything worked out, and the car wash is there to stay. I've seen a lot of people enjoy that. It looks really nice. Go to dinner at the Mexican restaurant, go see a movie, get your car washed. I mean, you can't beat that. But right next to that, which is like north, east, east of the car wash, there's a Panda Express. And if you don't know Tiffin, there's a lot of Chinese establishments around there, and I'm really looking forward to it. If you haven't visited the Panda Express in Findlay, it's like a Chipotle except Chinese food. You go through the same process. What would you like? A bowl, to go, whatever, what have you, egg rolls, salad. Then at the end you pay, get your drink, etc., etc. It's really nice. The one I went to in Findlay was really nice. I really enjoyed it. Really good food. The meat tasted really fresh. And the vegetables weren't overly crunchy, which happens when you hold on to them for a long time. Before we end on these, I'm going to try to end each podcast with a couple jokes, because everybody deserves to have a laugh at the end of this podcast. We can't be all serious and talk about issues and et cetera, et cetera. I know I have so many issues I'd like to discuss, and I'd love to have guests on. I'd love to have guests on this podcast. Go to different businesses, establishments, talk to the owners, see their view, maybe clear up some opinions and judgments that the citizens of Tiffin have made about certain establishments, businesses, and kind of clear that up. Because we really don't get to have a long discussion with any of these people around Tiffin, even the citizens. So just asking a citizen of Tiffin to come in and talk, chat, get their view on things. And you may be listening and just see like, wow, I never looked at that way, and that business that way in Tiffin. I never knew that person was like that. That's why the business is like this. That's why that person does this. That's why this person is so highly looked up to. This is why this person should never get my respect. Obviously we can't use libel and defamation of character on here. I don't want that to be part of the podcast. This is not to be used to bash people around Tiffin. I want it to be a positive thing for Tiffin and to have a positive influence. I want it to be based on not a copycat, but the influence I have to do this came from the Joe Rogan Experience, which is a podcast you can get on YouTube, iTunes, and what he does is he just has people on and they just talk. How you been? What you been up to? What business have you started, created? What book have you written? Tell us about it. Man, the other day I was driving and I seen this. What's your opinion on that? Just general discussion about things around Tiffin so people can understand fully. These long discussions are what people want. You don't get to go and see a Tiffin business owner and talk to them for 2 hours, usually on a daily basis, because they're busy. They're trying to make money, keep food on bring food home to their families, and they're not worried about talking past a certain amount of time. They have stuff to do. So, we're at the end of this podcast, and before I go on to these jokes, I want to say one last thing. There's a beautiful jogging route. I don't know if anybody knows of this. It's like the northeasternmost part of town. It's where the septic plant is, Seneca Septic. I forget what the name of it's called, but it runs along the Sandusky River, and there's a beautiful jogging path that goes back into this field, and they have little jogging paths through the field, and it has a slight incline and decline, but man, it's just, you get out there and you can get away from a lot of stuff from the city. You can get away get lost in your thoughts and just get away from the hustle and bustle of life, and it's really beautiful out there. And you can, if you don't wear your headphones, you can hear the flowing of the river, and it's really peaceful. Really peaceful. I usually pass one or two people if I choose to jog down it or take a walk down it. So that's a hidden gem I'd like to throw out. And I plan on doing that as well, throwing out a couple things you might not know about Tiffin or hidden gems that you might want to check out for yourself. And on this jogging route, I forgot to say there's a little hill before it, this secluded jogging path, and that's where a lot of people like to park and go down and fish. I think on that route there's like 2 or 3 benches too you can sit at. There's a couple of picnic tables if you want to have lunch. It's just a great addition to Tiffin, and I think it's maybe a mile long, mile and a half, I want to say. But that's how long it takes to get back to the field part of the jogging path, but it's really beautiful. All right, so the first joke we have is my boss told me to have a good day. So I went home. So a lot of people don't like to go to work, and so having a good day is being at home. Joke number 2. I know a lot of jokes about the unemployed people, but none of them work. None of the joke. I got that. None of the joke works. None of the jokes work because they're unemployed. Blah blah. I've been unemployed, so I'm allowed to say that joke. Joke number 3. How do crazy people get through the forest? Oh, that jogging path is kind of like the forest. The trees aren't as tall as you would imagine, but how do crazy people get through the forest? They take the psychopath. There is no psychopath down this secret gem northeast of town there along the Sandusky River, but that's funny. So to end this podcast, I'd like to throw out a little promotional thing. If any businesses people would like to get on this podcast, you can message me on Facebook, Trevor Clinger, TrevorClinger. If you would like to get on this podcast or offer your opinion, I'm also willing to promote fan art, music, video, news articles, anything that you would like to promote. I would love to do that for the city of Tiffin. Make this a wonderful thing, and I'm going to try to make it about an hour long, because that's about what most people can take as far as podcast wise before they start getting distracted and moving on to other things. and mentioning businesses to get in contact with me. One of the greatest bars that I've been to was the Laird Arcade Brewery, and it's hard. I wish the owner would do more to promote it, because it's a really cool hidden gem. It's a business within the Laird Arcade, which, if you don't know where that is, which a lot of people don't, just asking around Tiffin, I've experienced that a lot of people don't know where the Laird Arcade is. There's a brewery in there, and there's about seating for 20, 30 people, and there's a bar. They have some cool games in there. They have TVs, and you just go and drink some beer, and they have snacks there too. I know Putin Pita is right like 20, 50 feet down the way there. And so you could go get some food there and head to the brewery, or vice versa. That's an awesome double there. Great pairing, if you will. Man, that about wraps up this podcast. I haven't been up to much. Just trying to start this podcast. Working my tail off, I've been always trying to get a podcast started within Tiffin, but I didn't know what direction to take it. I didn't know if I want to do Northwest Ohio as a whole state, or like the Northwest region of the United States, and I didn't know if I want to do comedy, news, but this is just a test pilot episode. It's Tiffin Podcast, episode 1, and we'll just see where it goes from here. So thanks for tuning in. As I say again, you can contact me, Trevor Clinger, on my Facebook page, through the Messenger app, and next episode I should have an email address to where you can email me pictures, videos, fan art, promotional things, etc., and or if you would like to be a guest, and I'm willing to travel too. This microphone, I have 2 of them. I'm bringing the laptop. I have a camera. I'm just using my laptop camera right now, as the video quality may not be as good as the other camera that I have right now. But yeah, I can take this anywhere, and we can podcast anywhere. We could podcast out on a park bench. There's the 4th joke of the day. But anyways, enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy Tiffin. Thank you, everyone.